here's how I suggest you should do the math, okay? I suggest taking the first practice test cold. Like, just take it. Now, if you've already started looking at the book, it's fine. Like, don't worry about it. But I recommend if you just get this book or any other study guide out there, take one of the math practice tests completely cold and see how you do. Now, let's go to the math. So here's the math book. This is the digital guide. You guys might have the physical. It's fine. Notice here we have practice tests 1, 2, and 3. What I would do is take this first practice test here. This one has... I always forget how many questions because I work in so many tests. This has 56 questions. And it has very detailed answer explanations here. Now notice in this third column here, it tells you what content category. Now this is really important because that will tell you, what you're good at and what you need more help with. So what I would do is I would take this first practice test here, cold, grade it, score it. Now there's a couple of ways you can do this. You could score it and not look at the answer explanations at all. Just get a score and figure out where you're low. If you missed a bunch of questions in content category 1 and you were good in content category 2 and 3, you really got to work on 2 and 3. Or maybe it's algebra and geometry that killed you, which is mostly how people are. That's usually what kills them. Sorry for the scroll. Here we go. Usually 3 is where people really get messed up on algebra and geometry. Some of you may not have seen anything about algebra and geometry since 1996. You might be coming back into the teaching world after being out there in a different career. So algebra and geometry might kick your butt. Totally fine. You are not alone. Trust me, we get calls all the time. So you could score this practice test, but not look at the answer explanations. And then what you would do is, and let me go into my study companion or my study guide here, or plan, score it. Time yourself when you take the test. Don't set it for any particular time. Just see how long it takes you to get through it. It could take a while, especially if you haven't done this math in a while. All right. So how long did it take you to finish? And then decide what questions stumped you the most. Maybe the whole thing was a blur. Fine. That's fine. There's nowhere to go but up. Maybe there's one section that you really need to focus on. That's fine too. Put that all in right here. This is your baseline. This is where you're starting. All right. Now, these next 2 weeks here, and you might want to break it up into 3 weeks. This is a quick plan because a lot of people want to get through this and try to take the exam. So this is a quick plan, right? Monday, you're going to do the first section of the book and then the practice problems, Tuesday and on down. I'm going to talk about this in just a second. Now, one big thing I want you to think about here is now we're going to be sharpening those skills based on our data. We're being data-driven in our approach, right? So let's go into the math. So let's say I took my practice test and now it's my Monday. And remember, we're not doing all of this in one shot, all right? We're breaking this up day by day because incremental practice over longer periods of time is so much better than cramming this whole thing in on a weekend. All right. It's just like running. You can't just go out from being on the couch for 6 months and then go out and run a marathon. You gotta build up that endurance. And that's what this plan does. Okay. So let's say it's Monday based on my study plan here. Monday, I've already done my practice test 1. I've got my baseline. Monday, I'm going to go through my numbers and quantity. And maybe it's Monday and Tuesday. This is a pretty big section. There's a lot going on here. There are some example problems in here for you, which are good. Do those. They support the skills. Another thing I want you to notice is, sorry for the scroll, at the top of each heading, this is the test specification here. All of these are from the study companion. They are the specific skills in the study companion. And notice that we hit every single one of them. So we do not leave out anything in this situation here. So remember that. So you want to do everything in the book because we cover everything that's on the test, all right? So you're going through and you're like, okay, I'm doing good. I'm working through this. I'm working through these little example problems here. And then let me scroll down. I hate scrolling on live, but it's unavoidable right now. Then we're going to do our numbers and quantity practice problems. These are just for numbers and quantity. There are 10 here. And of course, the answer explanations here. Now, a couple of things. If you get between a 70 and an 80, or a 70 and an 80, you're doing good. You've got the skills down. However, I want you to be careful. You may have guessed on like number 4 and 5, and you got them correct, but you didn't really know why you got them correct. That's why it is so important for you to evaluate your incorrect answers. Why did I get it wrong? But also your correct answers. So really get into these answer explanations and focus and figure out, oh, did I get that right just because I guessed? Or did I get it right because I really, knew what I was doing? And then of course, there's always something in here. You might learn a different way of doing things. And of course, there might be you might know of a quicker way to do things. That's fine. If it's quicker than what we say here, do your thing. If you got it right and you know why you got it right, totally fine, okay? So that's how you would do that. Then of course, let me go back to my study companion. Same thing on Tuesday. You're gonna go in and do the second section of the book, and then the practice problems. Evaluate your correct and incorrect answers, and then see where you need to go. Now, if you're super low on these practice problems, let's say, I go into the math here and I bombed this. This numbers and quantity, it was not good. Okay, fine. Go back and study again. Go on YouTube, find some questions or find some videos that you can see this explained. Maybe you screenshot it and you send it to us, info@navaed.com, and Jeremy will work it out on our Tuesday night math sessions. It gives him some content to do. It's it makes life easy on us when we do these free webinars for you to be like, hey, I need number 2 in the study guide on page 43, or take a screenshot, because then I don't have to make up math problems. So we really like it actually. So if, let's say this one here, number 2, you're totally stumped on this one right here, screenshot it, send it to us, and we'll work it into one of our live sessions, all right? So that's one way to do it. And then go back in, work on the numbers and quantity, then go back here, look at your skills, see how you do. And you're gonna do that now for all the sections here. Then Friday, you're gonna review your skills, and you might do practice test 2 at that point. All right, let's say, okay, I'm done with all 3 of my sections here. And now what I'm gonna do is that's data, probability, and statistics, please hold. That's practice test 1, let's go to, this should be 2. There we go. So now I've done the whole thing. I'm going to do practice test 2. Or maybe since I didn't look at my answers and I just scored my practice test 1, and I really want to save my practice test because you guys love your practice tests. I understand. Maybe I go back to practice test 1 because all I did was score it and I did not look at the answers. I just looked to see what I got wrong. I didn't circle the correct answer. I just marked it wrong. Maybe I take it again and measure my skills again. That's really, really important. That will help you out tremendously. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you looked at the answer explanations, and that's okay too. Use practice test 2 as your post-test. Either way, you're going to be incrementally going up, all right? Then you do practice test 2. Let's say, let me go to practice test 2. Is this it? Yep. We do practice test 2. You're getting there. You're still a little low, but you're better than you were on practice test 1. Well, now you go in, you review our YouTube channel, and I'm going to show you how to do that at the end. I'm going to show you all the resources you can see here. Review the math YouTube playlist. Maybe you attend our Tuesday math live sessions. You're going to keep reviewing those skills with the book. There's so much content in the book. Keep going and review your practice tests. Maybe do them again. Maybe do the ones that you got wrong again. Math is a lot of muscle memory. Doing it again and again and again and again, okay? And then finally, the last Friday, maybe this is week 2, maybe it's week 3, because you broke up the sections of the book in 2 days. Maybe you did, first section of the book was Monday, Tuesday. Maybe the second section of the book was Wednesday, Thursday. That would pull this plan out to 3 weeks. Totally fine. And then this final Friday, you're going to do practice test 3, and that's going to be the thing that determines whether or not you're ready to go. And let's just go to practice test 3. Sorry for the scroll again, right here. And this one's going to determine if you are good. If you get it, I recommend a 70 to an 80% to be good to go on this test. With the Praxis Core, you can score a little bit lower, but I like to always be in the position of I'm scoring higher in my practice so that I'm ready on test day. Okay, and that's where I think you should be, between a 70 and an 80. If you're above that, fantastic. If you're below that, you're not ready. Don't waste your money on the test yet. Keep working, all right? Now, that's how you do the math.